County is steeped in agriculture. It's our heritage, it is our economy, it is our way of life. It is our past, it is our present, it is our future. Thus, it was the desire of our board to find a way to honor those distinguished citizens who have given so much hard work and given of themselves to advance agriculture excellence here in Surry County. Tonight, it is my distinct pleasure to induct the first individual to the Surry County Hall of Fame. Our inaugural inductee was born in Surry County in 1928. He worked and grew up on his family's tobacco farm. At age 15, he purchased his first 6 dairy cows and thus began a 41-year career as a commercial dairy farmer here in Surry County. Our inaugural inductee, who is being inducted posthumously, is Ned Martin of the Beulah community. I'll go on to tell you some of the accolades of Ned in his career. Ned was open to new ideas. He worked with Soil and Water Conservation Service and with Extension Service to innovate his farm. Ned and 5 other dairy men in 1955 formed Surco Dairies Incorporated to sell pasteurized and distribute milk to Surry County residents. He knew this would be the key for him and other farmers to grow their operations. Now, this was one of the coolest things that I found, that Ned and his wife, Evelyn, built the Surry County Demonstration House. And they did that in cooperation with the Extension Service, Farmers Home Administration, Duke Power, and NC State. This endeavor won them the Gold Medallion Award. An all-electric farm and home was modeled for other families in the area. Over 500 people attended this open house that they had. Electrification was a chief factor in the development of North Carolina farms in rural areas. Now, this is some things that were highlighted in Progressive Farmer magazine in 1961 when the home demonstration home was featured in that magazine. That the home had a utility room entrance, a farmer's clothes closet, adjacent bathrooms, a roll-in laundry bin, storage drawers for farm records, a canning pantry for garden foods. All of this was featured in the article. And I thought one thing was really cool is they talked about their daughter having a closet of her own, which I can identify. I have a farmhouse that was built in 1948, and there's no closets in it. But how wonderful that was what they received, a Gold Medallion Award for that. He also attended the Coronation Farm Breeding Service Training School in 1968. He started inseminating his own dairy herd in 1968. In 1969, Mr. Martin was the Surry County Conservation Farmer of the Year, and he was the Northwest Regional Outstanding 4th place for conservation. Part of his conservation efforts included 183 acres of improved pasture land, properly seeded, terracing, drainage, acreage set aside for wildlife, trees were added to hilly sections, and sodding to reduce soil loss. His conservation efforts continued throughout his life. He was a member of the Dairy Herd Improvement Association and participated in leak testing programs that gave detailed records of each cow's daily production. He also toured 8 countries and 5 states to learn best practices and to incorporate those into dairy productions, and to find innovative ideas that he could use on his dairy and share with his other friends in the dairy industry. His tours included California, New England, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Arizona, California, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, and the Rocky Mountain dairies. He served on the United Dairy Board in Greensboro from 71 to 75 to help area dairies distribute their milk. During his career, he sold milk to 8 different dairy companies: Carnation, Siltest, Serco, Yadkin Valley, Dairy Farmers, United Dairies, Flavor Rich, and Coble. And this was one of the most interesting things that I found in reading his application. In 1987, Mr. Martin built a computerized dairy system on his farm. In 1987, I was at the university and we had to go to the library to share a computer. But he was already innovative enough that he was computerizing his milking house. He was also computerizing and individualizing his milking stalls and their feed delivery system, and doing individual feed for the health and production of his cows. He also continued to work with conservation efforts in planting over 500 acres in white pines in his community. Among his other community efforts that he worked with, he, throughout his career, mentored over 50 other farmers. He loaned farm equipment to his neighbors, and he offered assistance from the time he began farming up until his death. Not only was Mr. Martin an innovative farmer and a hardworking farmer, he was a model citizen. He worked with 4-H groups, gave tours in his community, belonged to many other community groups, such as the Beulah Ruetan Club, the Round Peak Masonic Lodge. He donated the land to build the Skull Camp Fire Department and was on their board of directors. He was a charter member of the Low Gap Wildlife Club. He also served in the United States Army and was in the Army Reserves. Mr. Martin's career in farming and his life is a model that we see here in Surry County. We are so proud of his contributions to agriculture here in Surry County and the state of North Carolina. At this time, we would like to ask that his lovely wife of 67, was it 67 years you married, Ms. Martin?
69.
69 years. And his children, Gail and Joy, and their families come forward as we present them with this award. We would like also for our county commissioners and Tyrone Fisher to join us. And this is being presented as our first inaugural inductee for the commitment and dedication, and innovation and service to agriculture in Surry County. Congratulations. They are presenting with this lovely sign to grace their farm.
We want to thank Donald Cochran, one of our neighbors, for nominating him. And we think this is a wonderful thing that Surry County's doing. Our farmers and agriculture aren't recognized very much, and this will be wonderful. So we're looking forward to all throughout the year seeing other people that will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And we want to thank Surry County Extension and the Advisory Council for doing this.
I am very proud of Ned and all the work that he did. He loved working, so he was in the right field because it took a lot of work.
I think he would be glad that agriculture and farming and dairy farming is being recognized, but he never wanted awards for himself.
It's very special because my daddy was my hero growing up, and so that's pretty special.
He was a very hard worker, and of course the first years that he was farming, he wasn't able to hire anyone to do milking, so he was up at 4 o'clock mornings milking, and of course you had to milk twice a day. I can even remember my first grade teacher talking to us about going to church, and I said, "My daddy doesn't go to church." And she said, "Your daddy's at milking cows. He doesn't have time to go to church. He has to work 7 days a week." And that is how a dairy farmer is. It was 7 days a week until years later when he could hire someone, and then they could do the milking and he could be the overseer, but that was a lot of years later. And silage time was always the hardest work every year. From sun up to sundown, and he would come in and maybe eat supper at 9 o'clock or something like that, and you had to get your corn cut for your silage for the cows, and you had to have good weather, you had to get it done in a certain amount of time, and things would always break down, and then that would be difficult. And then you always had other things happening, like cows getting out and you having to get them up, and the dairy was right on the road, so you had to be cautious about people driving and things like that. Or if your power went out and there you have electric milkers, what are you going to do? So lots of difficult things like that.
For us, it's a wonderful way to honor him and the hard work he put forth in his career as a farmer. My daddy just loved hard work. He used to say he didn't have any hobbies. He wished he did, but for a hobby, he would go out in the woods where he'd planted his pine trees, and he would work at cutting the dead limbs off or something like that with his chainsaw. He just loved to work, and even after he retired, he continued to mow yards and find work. He just gardened to the hilt because he had always kept a garden, him and his family, but after he retired from dairy farming, he had large gardens. Daddy would, I think, enjoy the camaraderie between all of the farmers in the community. It's good to see there's still farmers, but there's no more dairy farmers in our county. It's all big milk now. So you've got to be very, very large. And there were a lot of dairy farmers in the community, and even in the county, there were a great number of them. And so, he enjoyed going on those trips with them and talking with them, and they all were, I think, a close group.
The girls loved their daddy and they loved him, and we enjoyed being together and doing things together.
Do you think he feels honored right now?
Yes, I think so. And I hope that, some of these young boys that go into agriculture will work hard and can receive some recognition for the things that they do.